There's a lump sum payment of up to $20,000 sitting inside the Social Security system right now, available to a specific group of retirees that you can request in a single phone call and have deposited into your bank account within weeks. Most of the people who qualify for it will never claim it, not because they do not need the money, but because the Social Security Administration is not in the business of explaining it to you. And the one moment they are supposed to mention it, when you sit down to file, they very often do not. In the next 25 minutes, I'm going to explain exactly what this lump sum is, who qualifies for it, the exact trade-off the Social Security Administration does not put in plain language, and the specific situations where you should take it, and the specific situations where you should never touch it. Nothing in this video is financial advice. Talk to a Social Security specialist or a credentialed financial professional before you make this decision. Let me start with what this actually is, because the name matters. Social Security calls it a retroactive claim. Here is how it works. When you reach your full retirement age, which for almost everyone retiring today is 66 and some number of months, or 67 for anyone born in 1960 or later, you have a choice. You can claim your benefit right away, or you can delay claiming it. And here is the incentive Social Security gives you to wait. For every single month you delay past your full retirement age, your monthly benefit grows by 2/3 of 1%. Over a full year, that comes to 8%. These are called delayed retirement credits, and they keep stacking up month after month until you reach age 70, at which point they stop completely. There is no reward for waiting past 70. 70 is the ceiling. Now here is where the lump sum comes in. Say you reached your full retirement age, and instead of claiming right away, you waited. Maybe you were still working. Maybe you simply did not need the money yet. Maybe you just never got around to filing, and now, some months later, you decide it is time. When you file, Social Security offers you an option most people do not even know exists. You can ask them to backdate your claim by up to 6 months. Instead of starting your benefit the month you file, they will treat your claim as though you had filed up to 6 months earlier, and they will pay you all 6 of those months in a single lump sum, deposited directly into your account. How big is that lump sum? It depends entirely on the size of your monthly benefit. For a retiree with a monthly benefit of around $3,300, 6 months adds up to just under $20,000. For a higher earner whose benefit at full retirement age in 2026 is the maximum of $4,152 a month, 6 months of retroactive payments comes to nearly $25,000. And for someone who waited closer to 70, where the maximum monthly benefit in 2026 reaches $5,181, that 6-month lump sum can clear $30,000. This is real money, and it can hit your account just weeks after you file. For a retiree facing unexpected medical bills, high-interest debt, a home repair they have been putting off, or who simply wants a cushion of cash on hand, the appeal is obvious. But there are strict rules on who can do this, and they trip people up constantly. Rule 1. You have to have reached your full retirement age. Social Security cannot and will not pay retroactive benefits for any month before you hit full retirement age. If your full retirement age is 67 and you file at 67 and 2 months, the most they can backdate you is 2 months, not 6, because they cannot reach into the period before your full retirement age. Rule 2. To get the full 6 months, you have to be at least 6 months past your full retirement age when you file. File 5 months past, you get 5 months. File 4 months past, you get 4. Rule 3. The retroactive period maxes out at 6 months, period. It does not matter if you waited 2 full years past full retirement age, the most they will ever pay you in a single lump sum is 6 months. You cannot reach all the way back to your full retirement age and collect years of missed checks. 6 months is the hard ceiling. Now here is the catch, and this is the single most important thing in this entire video, so I want you to really hear it. When you take that 6-month lump sum, Social Security does not just hand you the money and leave your future benefit untouched. They roll your benefit start date back 6 months. And remember what we just said about delayed retirement credits. Every month past full retirement age that you waited was earning you 2/3 of 1% in extra monthly benefit, permanently. When you backdate your claim 6 months to collect that lump sum, you hand 6 months of those delayed retirement credits right back. 6 months at 2/3 of 1% each comes to a 4% permanent reduction in your monthly check. Not for 1 year, not for 5 years, for the rest of your life. Let me put real numbers on that. Suppose you waited until you were a full year past your full retirement age, and your monthly benefit at that point would be $3,500. You file, and you are offered the 6-month retroactive lump sum of $21,000. Sounds wonderful. But if you take it, your benefit start date rolls back 6 months, and your monthly check is recalculated as though you had filed 6 months earlier. That knocks roughly 4% off your monthly benefit. 4% of $3,500 is about $140 a month. So your check, instead of being $3,500, is now about $3,360. You got $21,000 up front, but you are giving up $140 every single month going forward for as long as you collect. Here is the break-even math, and it is the whole decision in a nutshell. You receive $21,000, you are losing $140 a month. Divide 21,000 by 140, and you get 150 months. That is 12 and a half years. So if you go on to collect for more than 12 and a half years after taking that lump sum, you come out behind. You would have been better off skipping the lump sum and taking the higher monthly check. If you do not collect that long, the lump sum was the better deal. It really is that simple, and it really is that stark. The entire decision comes down to how long you expect to be collecting, what other cash you have available, and what you would actually do with the money today. So let me give you the specific situations where taking the lump sum is the right move. The first is a health situation. If you are dealing with a serious health condition or your family history, and your doctors give you real reason to believe you may not be collecting benefits for another 12 or 13 years, then the break-even math flips in your favor. The lump sum in hand is worth more to you than a slightly higher check you may not collect long enough to fully benefit from. In that situation, taking the money now is not just acceptable, it is the mathematically correct choice. The second situation is an urgent financial need. If you are carrying high-interest debt, say a credit card balance at 22 or 24%, the guaranteed return from wiping out that debt with the lump sum almost certainly beats the 4% annual value of the delayed credits you would be giving up. And if you have a genuine emergency, a medical bill, a critical home repair, a family crisis, and the alternative is borrowing at high interest or selling investments at a bad time, the lump sum can be the cleanest source of cash you have access to. The third situation is when you can genuinely put the money to work. If you are disciplined and you would invest that $21,000 in a way that reasonably outpaces the 4% you are giving up, the lump sum can come out ahead. This one requires honesty with yourself because most people do not actually invest a windfall, they spend it. But for the retiree who truly will put it to productive use, the math can favor taking it. Now the situations where you should not touch this lump sum. If you are in good health and you have longevity in your family, leave it alone. The entire reason you waited past full retirement age was to lock in a higher lifetime benefit. Taking the lump sum throws away part of the very thing you were patiently building. If you are going to be collecting for 15, 20, 25 years, that 4% compounds with every cost of living adjustment, and over a long retirement it adds up to far, far more than the lump sum ever gave you. There is also a consideration most people completely miss, and it involves your spouse. If you are the higher earner in your marriage, your benefit is not just your benefit. When one spouse passes, the surviving spouse gets to keep the larger of the two benefits, not both. So the monthly amount you lock in today is the amount that will support your husband or wife for the rest of their life after you are gone. By taking the lump sum and permanently lowering your monthly benefit by 4%, you are also lowering the survivor benefit your spouse will one day live on, potentially for many years. For a married couple where one person is the primary earner, this single factor can outweigh everything else on this list. The higher earner should think very hard before reducing a benefit that two lives may eventually depend on. And there is one more trap, a tax trap. That lump sum is taxable income in the year you receive it. A $20,000 or $30,000 payment landing in a single tax year can push you into a higher tax bracket, can increase the portion of your Social Security that is taxable, and can push you across the IRMAA A threshold that raises your Medicare premiums 2 years down the road. This is not just a Social Security decision, it is a tax decision, and the amount you actually keep after taxes may be meaningfully smaller than the headline number you were quoted. Now, I want to warn you about something very specific, because this is where the Social Security Administration's lack of explanation does the most damage. If you wait all the way until age 70 to file, which is the smartest move for a healthy person who can afford to wait, you have to be careful about how your application is handled. In some cases, when a person files at or right after 70, Social Security has been known to apply the 6-month retroactive option more or less automatically, without the person fully understanding what it does. You think you are getting a pleasant surprise, a nice bonus lump sum. What is actually happening is that they are rolling your start date back to 6 months before 70, which means you are forfeiting 6 months of the delayed retirement credits you spent years earning, and your monthly benefit is now permanently lower than the maximum you worked so hard to reach. If you are filing at 70 specifically to lock in the largest possible check and someone offers you a retroactive lump sum, that is the exact moment to stop and ask, very clearly, whether accepting it will reduce your monthly benefit, because for the person whose entire plan was to maximize that monthly check, the lump sum quietly defeats the whole strategy. So how do you handle this correctly? When you file for Social Security, whether by phone, online, or in person, and you are past your full retirement age, ask one direct question. Ask them to show you both numbers. Number 1, what is my monthly benefit if I take no retroactive payment and start fresh from today? Number 2, what is my monthly benefit if I take the 6-month retroactive lump sum, and what is the exact dollar amount of that lump sum? Get both numbers in front of you, in writing if you can. Then run the simple break-even calculation. Divide the lump sum by the monthly reduction. That gives you the number of months you need to be collecting before the lump sum turns into the worst deal. Compare that to how long you realistically expect to be collecting. Factor in your spouse's survivor benefit if you are the higher earner. Factor in the tax hit, and then make the decision with your eyes wide open. The mistake is not taking the lump sum. The mistake is taking it or refusing it without ever seeing both numbers side by side. So here is the whole thing in plain terms. If you are past full retirement age and you have not yet claimed, you can request up to 6 months of benefits as a single lump sum, which for many retirees lands somewhere between $20,000 and $30,000. In exchange, you permanently give up 6 months of delayed retirement credits, which lowers your monthly check by about 4% for the rest of your life. It is a genuinely good deal for the retiree with health concerns, an urgent cash need, or a shorter expected collection period. It is a genuinely bad deal for the healthy retiree with longevity on their side, and an especially dangerous one for the higher earner whose benefit will one day support a surviving spouse. The Social Security Administration will not walk you through this trade-off. The number sounds like a gift, and for some people it truly is. For others, it is one of the most expensive mistakes they will ever make in retirement. The only thing that separates those two outcomes is whether you understood the trade-off before you signed. And now you do. If this video was useful to you, the most helpful thing you can do right now is hit the like button, because that is the single signal that tells the YouTube algorithm to put this in front of more retirees who need to see it before they file. Subscribe if you have not already so the next breakdown lands in your feed. And if you know a friend, a sibling, a parent, or a neighbor who is approaching retirement age or who has reached full retirement age but has not yet claimed, send them this video directly. Because this is exactly the kind of decision people make once, permanently, often without anyone explaining the trade-off to them first. YouTube is also showing you a video right now on the screen because they think it is the next thing you need to see. Go ahead and click it. I will see you in the next one.